Assalamu alaikum. Now today I'm gonna be doing a dupatta. I'm gonna be edging off a dupatta, and the dupatta that I'm doing is this green color. Now the thing with these dupattas is this one's quite heavy, and it's also quite wide. So I'm gonna take a little bit off the side as it's too wide. And when I'm tearing this, just a thing to bear in mind, well, a couple of things to bear in mind. Generally, we don't take the edges off because they're salvaged edges, but sometimes just have a look to make sure that there's no pull on the edge, because sometimes the fabrics do have a pull. And also when you tear, be careful that these edges that you tear on curl up. So often what you need is this edge. You need it you do need it pressing, just to take that turning or twisting out. Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to start on sort of like somewhere close to the corner, but not on the corner. This is generally a mistake that a lot of us make, is that we start on the corner. So be careful not to start on the corner. We're going to start slightly in, and we're going to use the blue. I've attached all these together, and the blue we're going to use as a piping, and the pink we're going to use as a turning. We're just gonna attach this to this to start off with. We're just going to start it off because what we want is to be able to handle it. So just a little space of time, just the piping part underneath and the edging part on top. Now underneath the machine I've put a green thread, and on top I've put a pink. So once you've got these started off, just leave a little bit of a gap. Just gonna, you know what, it's an idea to actually knot this. I've just gone and pulled it out. Something had to be forgotten. See if I can push it back in. The only way I'll be able to push this back in is if I create a twist. Do that to it. That would give it a little bit of stiffness, and then perhaps, otherwise I'm just gonna do you know what, that's not worth the hassle. Let's just chop it. We've got plenty of fabric, and use the brain this time. you can be very fidgety, and you can do some stupid things. So we're going to start that again. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Let's start on a good note. And we're going to do a little bit more than what we did last time. And also we're going to leave this excess. We've been taught, we've learnt the hard way, put it that way. Lessons learnt the hard way. This dupatta itself doesn't have a right or wrong, but if your dupatta does have a right and wrong, then you'd be putting this on the wrong side, because this will ultimately turn on the right side, unlike unlike the other piping, because what we want is we want a bit of that we want the pink showing. So later on what we're going to be doing is turning that as well and creating the finishing. Now the problem with these fabrics is they do leave a lot of threads, so that's why we were a little bit generous with the cutting, because I didn't want the tearing to, the threads coming out and then going too close to the corner. I might just trim the whole of this later on, just to make. So this is going to go all the way around. It is tedious, it is time consuming, and depending on the kind of outfit you want to create and who you're making this for, I think we can be passionate if it's our own, and if it's someone else's who's paying us generously, again we can be a little bit passionate. But if it's someone who's just taking advantage, like I often get people who just take you for granted and would come in and request, or will you do this on a scarf for me, like it's a walk in the park. And the only way you realize the value of something like this is when you do it yourself. Unfortunately, just because I may end up doing it for someone doesn't mean that it didn't take my time, or I had that spare time, or I was so passionate about it that I was eager to sort of do it for doing it for someone. Nobody has got the time. Time is one of the most difficult things to find in this day and age. So it's weird, because I get a lot of people coming up to me and saying, so what do you do with yourself these days? You haven't got the shop anymore, so you must be living the life. And if only they knew what my life was like. I don't have 5 minutes to spare, unfortunately. I'm very passionate about the teaching, and I take a lot of time out to try and do this. And the time that I take out for doing this is the time when I should be resting and relaxing, and I try not to compromise my time that I am supposed to give to family, or I normally try and sacrifice the time that I am supposed to have for myself. So basically I don't have time for myself. So if you're doing it, you're already stretched and you've got no time. I'm sacrificing, I have a lot of studio work, and then often I'm sacrificing a lot of that, because I haven't got time to sit down and complete my homework, and then I'm panicking, last minute, or I'll go into class and I won't know, some of my vocab and stuff. Most of the time I'm weak-minded as well, but at the same time, not only am I weak-minded, I mean, sometimes I could kick myself, because weak-minded means that I should be trying more. And then if I'm sacrificing that time and I'm spending it on sitting on the sewing machine, then I can't blame the weak-mindedness, because I've actually gone and chosen something else over my class work. So I know the reason for my weak-minded, excuse. That's a feeble excuse, by the way, and I feel bad about it. Now I'm hoping that, this mad week of tutorials would actually be sufficient, and I won't be covering, for a few months. Then I'll be taking a breather, and I'll be doing, because a few months ahead, it's going to be exam time and stuff, and then I'm going to have to seriously take time out from sewing to try and catch up with some of my missed work. So I'm gonna, oops, I've gone off. This is what talking does. You have to be careful that the underside of the fabric is actually being carried forward. Don't get distracted like me. I think I've become too passionate there. Now, you know what? There's something else that I want to mention here. Like I tend to talk a lot, and talk about things that generally I wouldn't talk about, and that's because, for any member that's watching the video, I do feel that I have a connection with members who are, subscribed members, paid members, because they would be spending a lot more time with me, and I feel like they're part of my family, to be honest. So stuff like this is not something that I would choose to talk about, because if you put something like this on public display, then you can imagine the kind of criticism, and because you got everybody watching those videos, people who are not really interested in and really don't know you as a person, but become judgmental on mere few words that may be uttered. I think for majority of you who have watched the videos and have chosen to become a member, probably know far more about me than even my very close associates would. And I think the biggest thing there is the fact that you share a common interest, you share a common bond with that person, and over time you develop on that bond, and you get to know them, and you like their qualities, and you get to understand their thinking far better. So most of the time is people will judge you based on a few words, and you can't judge a book by the cover. You've got to open it up and read inside, and even then you cannot know what the person's about. So I mean, like, there's lots of videos that I've done on dupattas. I don't know if I've done this particular type of piping. I may have, I may not have, because obviously I've done thousands and thousands of videos and I forget what I've done. But generally when I do a scarf video like this, I do end up talking quite a lot, because I think I feel that, you know, you need to keep your viewer entertained. And it's all right, you know, if you're doing something like this, if you're replicating me, then it's good that you can just put the phone or the iPad or something on and occasionally just glance, because this is repetitive. This is something that I started. This is, you know, you don't even need to be watching this unless you're watching this to listen to what I'm saying. Otherwise, there's nothing to really watch. The only benefit of a video like this is that it gives you an idea of just how long it took for the video to, you know, get completed. That's how long it took me to edge the stuff. So it gives you an idea of the time spent on doing that particular thing. And it also, during the process, if I make any mistakes or if I've you know, given any suggestions, then you pick up from those mistakes and those suggestions and apply them to your own project. So that's the benefit of it. Obviously it's time consuming, but then it's time consuming doing this. So it's putting the effort and the time into actually, you know. Okay, my companion is here. She was crying yesterday on leaving. Hello, baby.
Hello. My box. Mama and Manu and Sakim.
Oh, have you come to get your book? Box?
Huh?
You come to get your box?
Yeah. You said you're gonna pick me up a new door.
Oh, did I not come and pick you up?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? We got visitors. And that's why I couldn't come.
Who did Kim?
Awesome, man.
Come on, son.
Hello, gang.
Yeah, put this up.
Yeah, some of Dada's friends came, so I had to make tea and stuff for them.
Daddy's.
That's why I didn't come for you, madam.
Huh?
I know, that's why I didn't come for you. Because Dada's friends came and I had to make tea for them. Oi, where are you going? Where are you going?